green top I together yesterday. A lot of greens. Love green. Such a cool colour. It's quite a big quilt, all the same as the other. 5x6 squares, blocks, each 12.5 inch squares together, 2.5 inch jelly rolls. Really love the black that I've used as a chain. These quilts are called Trip Around the World, probably because they're, quite a trip to make. But this one is beautiful too. They are all so beautiful. Pinning up a quilt. Today, well this morning, I thought I would pin up this quilt that I've had the top waiting for a long time. So I'm going to make a quilt sandwich. Oh, it's not really a sandwich, I'm just pinning it up. I pin around the edges first. I've got the backing on, some tulle zebras, then the batting, and then the top. And I sew around the edges first, then put on the binding, and then quilt. So I need a lot of pins, and the pins I'm using are these fab curved pins, especially for quilting. Make it very easy. Just put it in and push it out. I use this instead of thread tacking because I just couldn't get down the floor anymore, and this is just as good, well better I think, a way of keeping the layers together while I sew it on the machine or hand quilt it. The top blocks, the top of the quilt is it's made from a swap that I did this year, 2021, with a group of friends in Australia. It was, you could choose your birthday block, so we all swapped on our birthdays. Mine was September, and I chose black and white because it's my favourite colour combination, cats and dogs, and I could use my own fabrics to go in it. The block is a simple 4 square, just a 4 square block with a sort of a log cabin going around the edge, so 2 short blocks and 2 long. And then I pin it all up. I usually pin about every 4 inches, I'd say. Keeps it all together while I'm sewing. I like hand quilting in my lap on the chair there. Just bundle it all up and the pins keep it all together while I stitch. My stitches aren't really small, they're the long, slow stitches. And it keeps it all together, keeps me happy. Takes me about half an hour to quilt it all together. The batting I'm using is a wool batting. very nice and soft, and makes a nice thinnish quilt, easy to quilt. The binding I'm going to use is this black and white. I made it myself. It's a 2.5 inches, and it's made from all the blocks left over, so a fun binding. I can't wait to quilt it. You know how it is sometimes when you just have to make it. Well, the top has been waiting like 8 months, so time to get a move on. Plus, it is now summer here in Australia, so I'll get this ready and I'll probably quilt it in winter. I've also made a mad foray into knitting. I hadn't knit for years, and then I decided, I watched some podcasts and knitting came up. All these beautiful new threads, yarns, organic cotton, organic wool, colours, sock yarn that's unbelievable. And with lockdown, you know, we haven't been able to go shopping. All the shops have been closed, the quilting shops. Only shopping is online. And I was lucky enough to have a lot of fabrics that I'd collected over time. I used to sew with my best friend Judith, but haven't been able to with lockdown. She has the quilting machine that I love, her Sweet 16. It makes the job so much easier. And it's fun quilting with a friend, you know. Makes it a fun pastime. Nearly finish this part, then I will just turn the top part over, roll it down because I've got a thin table, and do the bottom part, trim the edges. Then, when I've done all that, I'll just get the sewing machine out and sew around the edges, attach the binding, and then all the batting will be encased, ready to quilt. So fun. What do you think? Like a great comfy quilt ready to be made. See how we go, eh? Next time I'll show how I do the binding. Okay. So I'm sewing on the binding with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance from the edge. The next round, when I'm attaching the binding, I will put the foot at 1/2 an inch in, so that when I fold over the binding, it will make a nice edge of binding about 1/2 an inch wide. Should look good. After I've done this, I will trim it with the rotary cutter, and it'll be ready for the next step. I like to sew around the edge of the quilt first before I do the quilting. Most people don't. My friend Judith also uses this method. Found it the easiest, well, not the easiest, but you know, the best. It keeps all the batting in, and makes quilting easy, especially if you're going to machine quilt. Just my opinion. Okay, my machine is pretty loud, so now that I've done this part, I will continue round and trim, then video the next stage. Okay. I've got the sticky tape on and I've pinned, well, I ran out of pins actually, and guess who's helping? Not. Kitty, what are you doing? Don't sit there. Just keep going. Keep going. Off you go. Good girl. So yeah, this is how I get it ready. So I've got the sticky tape on and I've got pins each side, and it will lift really easily now into my lap. I'll show you that tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe later. We'll see how we go. Last night I just couldn't wait and I decided to start my hand quilting in my lab. I'll take it over to the table. Lay it out. See what I've done. Started the hand quilting. You can see I'm around here, so I'm doing the diamond. This is how my stitches look. They're pretty neat, but they are not small quilting stitches, that's for sure, but that's not ever what I've aimed for or could do. So yeah, next thing is to tape up a few lines on this and do a bit more quilting. So this is going to move the pins because they're in the line of fire, those ones, just around the next lot of squares. Just take them out. I love my curved pins, quilting pins. Just get the main ones out of the way and I'll put them back in the middle a bit closer. Get the tape. This is just 3/8, I'd say, sticky tape. I do need it flat. And so, lining up the next, I'm going on the side of the 2.5 inch squares. When I've got that done, I get my pins out. I like the flat pins to be next to the tape because they hold it closer together, hold the layers closer together. And I found a needle that was much easier to pull through the fabric. I think it probably just had a bit bigger eye, but still very sharp. Sharp is what we need. And then for the next one, I'm going up here on the green still. I do like quilting in straight lines, I've got to say. I do have the chalk for doing curved lines and everything, but you know, when it comes down to it, I think I like the sticky tape more. And so when I have it mainly pinned up, I can move the pins also when it's in my lap as I go, but it's also easy to do when it's on the mat, and I've got my green crafting mat underneath, so table's protected. I hope to have this quilt done this year, and the other two, which might be pushing it a bit. See how much quilting I get done and how my fingers hold up. But the next quilt that I want to do is this one. I made this one, must be nearly 2 years ago. Well, I made the top, and I'm up to the hand quilting on this one too. I've forgotten what the pattern's called, Sisters or something. But yeah, this is what I'm up to on this one. So I'm following the tape. We can see the reflection of the tape in the light. It's easy to follow, and I just hold the 3 layers together in my right hand. For right-handed people, it would be the opposite. And it is so easy because everything is together tightly, and I don't need frame or hoop or anything really. It's just, and I can, you know, go pretty fast. I probably have this quilted in a week, hand quilting. We'll see how we go. I want to get the quilts done by the end of winter because it does get really warm if you're holding a big quilt in your lap in summer. I purposefully left them as a winter project. So this is how it's looking. You can see where I've done the previous row, and now I'm doing the next row. I will do another something in between, maybe like that. But yeah, there we go. This is a big quilt that I'm hand quilting in my lap. A beautiful trip around the world. 100%, well, 99.5% K Fassett and Philip Jacobs fabrics. I don't think there's any of Brandon's in there. They're my older fabrics. Maybe the fish, I can't remember. And the black is definitely not theirs. That's before Cave thought black would go with his fabrics. I remember him saying that. Anyway, this is how it looks now, out flat. I've started to hand quilt, and I've only done in the corners, corner to corner on every second row, just to get it so that I can take the pins out, and then I will do some more inlaying. I've done that one and the one next to it, that one there. This didn't take me long. I've only started hand quilting this one yesterday afternoon. These are the pins that I use. I don't baste with threads anymore. I used to be down on the floor hand tacking. Too old for that now. Knees won't do it and I probably couldn't get up. But these pins are so wonderful and they do the job perfectly. And I must have about a box of pins for each quilt. My husband has been back and bought every packet out from Spotlight that there was, but they keep getting them in or re-putting them out on the shelves. I have about 6 packets of the pins, and I think there must be about, I can't remember how many's in a box, but a nice amount, and they last forever and they're very sharp. I just, if they go blunt or they won't go through the fabrics, I just don't use them, throw them out. But yeah, this is basting and sewing, and the back, I don't get folds in a hand quilting in my lap. It's perfectly flat. You can see where the pins go through. Just looking for the quilting. Let's have a look. There it is. There. It's such good camouflage you can't see it. But yeah, the back is flat. With my quilts, as I've said before, I put the binding on first by machine. This one I've used the same as the back. And then I sew the front down by machine also. Yeah. I think it finishes it off nicely, make it last longer. See how we go with this. It won't take long to quilt. I want to get it done in like 3 weeks, I'd say. Then we'll have another look at it. I'm thinking of making this video that I'm making at the minute and the other ones that I've made into a separate lap quilting episode. Might be good. I've also got another 2 quilts in this series, a red and a blue. So I want to get those done this winter. Now the fabrics just look so nicely together, don't they? The greens. I love the green. And you know, I never used to like green that much wearing it, but now, especially this acid green, I think it's so beautiful, but it is so beautiful in quilts also. I'm going through my facet fabrics. It's so exciting and so beautiful.